we got them.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. This next talk is going to be the story of Boondock Echo and how it went from being the 4th place winner in last year's Hackaday Prize to a successful company and the steps along the way. So please join me in welcoming to the Hackaday SuperCon stage, Mark Hughes and KC.
Thank you, Elliot, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. My name's Mark. This is KC.
Hello, everyone.
And KC, well, no, hold on to the applause for just 1 second. KC, unfortunately, was stuck in Chicago last year at this time, and he missed out on all of the applause that he would have gotten had he been here to accept the award. So can we give that to him now?
Thank you, thank you.
I know.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It was actually louder last year. I know.
All right.
But that's okay. We're going to pump up this crowd. We're going to get them excited. And you know how we're going to do that, KC?
How?
Let's tell them about Boondock Echo.
Let's do that.
Woo! Let's hit play, buddy.
Right.
Almost. We're
like
closing in on it. Brad's coming. Bradley's coming to the stage. Woo!
Hello?
Radio has always been about connecting people, reaching across continents, and bridging divides. But there's always been a flaw. Radio waves don't wait to be heard. If you're not in front of the receiver when the signal comes through, all you hear is the noise. Boondock Echo changes everything by automatically recording, transcribing, and optionally acting on every message that comes through. You'll never miss a transmission again, even if you're not in front of your radio. From remote mountain peaks to busy cities, the future of radio is here. Keyword recognition can email you important messages. IFTTT integration means your radio can now control anything that has electrons running through it, which these days is just about everything. Boondock Echo has even more features. Get yours by backing us at Crowd Supply.
All right. Isn't that cool?
And that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So last year on this stage, we won 4th place. That's right, only 4th place. I'm still a little salty about that. But we're going to walk you through some of the troubles that we've had, the journey that we went on. And at the end, if the fates are willing, we're going to show you a live demonstration of Boondock Echo working. You know how those go. So let's get started. I grew up with a family that was full of service. You know, father was in the FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, Urban Search and Rescue, and he'd go out and he'd respond to things, you know, just small events, you know, like 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina. The following thunderstorm Ernesto was apparently much less exciting. But he'd always come back with these stories about the radios and other issues that they had. They don't apparently shower those firefighters much when they're on scene, you know, but, you know, what are you going to do? So I'd always hear about these things, and I was like, seems like there's some problems there that can be solved, Dad. He's like, it's government. What are you going to do? And he passed away, and that was back in about 2014. But I kind of had this bug in the back of my mind that this might be something that we can address. So, go ahead, buddy. Really where I started feeling like something needs to be done is when this tragedy happened. I don't know if you guys remember this, back in about the same time frame. The Granite Hotshots, the Granite Mountain Hotshots, unfortunately perished in a fire. They lost communication for about 30 minutes, ended up going into an active burn area, and they lost, I think it was 19 people that day. And I thought, I can solve this problem. And I even registered a website. I think at that time I was calling it a local area fire network. And it just wasn't a good idea. The plan that I had at the time isn't the one that we have now. So the first thing I wanted to do, I was thinking about maybe we could use some mesh networking and send, just some text information around. Bluetooth mesh was still pretty new. The range wasn't great. We didn't have the Bluetooth low energy, long distance stuff with Bluetooth 5 that we have today. It was a bad idea. And if you want a successful idea, it needs to be simple. And my idea at the time was not simple. I knew that. I then had another idea. Nope, go back one, sorry. So then I had another idea where I would, instead of doing that, maybe I could just take a bunch of radios and pipe them all into a single input stream and then output them on a frequency everybody could hear, because again, I was going back to the 9/11 idea of all these inter-radio interoperabilities that just weren't working. But again, not simple. So I never acted on any of those ideas. And in fact, I just kind of let it sit in the back of my mind for a while. I kind of let the website die. Just wasn't worth it. And by the way, they were horrible ideas. I could go into them in more detail with you later, but they just weren't good. If you want to have a product that's successful, something you can do something with, you need to keep it simple. You guys know KISS, keep it simple, stupid? Yeah. Well, just keep it stupid simple if you want to be a little nicer about it. All right. Life drifted away. Didn't really go back to the project for a little while. And in 2019, I taught a course at Teach Me PCB. I was teaching people how to make printed circuit boards. Completely unrelated, but it's a skill set that some people don't have. And when I did this, I think there was like 600 or 700 people that signed up initially. And one person stood out above all others, right? I was teaching basic circuit board design. Simple project, everybody was doing the same project, working off the same schematic, and one guy just kept knocking it out of the park. Now, 600, 700 people, you don't know who all those people are, but I reached out to this one. I'm like, how much time a week are you spending on this course? He's like, I don't know, hour, 2. Like, dude, your design is just far and away above everybody else's. Oh, so yeah, I know how to do circuit board design. What are you doing in my course? It's like, well, mostly I use OrCAD and, pads and all these fancy Altium and all these fancy stuff, and I wanted something I could use at home. So I'm just using your course to teach myself KiCad. Like So Jesse, about halfway through the course, got promoted to instructor against his will. And he and I have been friends ever since. And just one of the many wonderful people that you collect in your life, Jesse was one of them in mine. And we ended up going on and teaching another course. But before we did, something bad happened. There was a fire. This one hit a lot closer to home. This fire happened less than a mile from my house. I live in a high fire burn danger area in La Habra Heights, and I run the local network. We've got a fire watch. I help keep an eye along with a couple other people in the community, and we monitor frequencies. We try to figure out where there are needs that we can fill, right? We're not emergency response, but if there's power outage and somebody's in a medical bed and we can get a generator to them from somebody else in the community, we'll do that kind of stuff. We'll make sure that there's nobody driving through the hills, with flares out the side of their car, do a little bit of community watch type stuff. But I want you to know what I experienced when I was running the network during that fire. And I'm going to share that with you today. I have to monitor somewhere between about 6 and 8 frequencies at a time, combination of fire, police, radio, their dispatch, TAC, community channels, all that type of stuff. What you're going to hear is audio that I recorded that day, although I did compress it for time. I took out the pauses for this little segment. All right, Casey.
All right.
And 457. What's the structure defense? Operations from Cabo structure defense. It's going to be Cabo structure defense. Operations from Alpha 3263 Cabo Blanco. Alpha, what do you need? Operations from Alpha.
Anybody well, I know nobody on this side of the stage knows what was said because the speaker's out. So you all just have to use your imagination. But anybody on this side of the stage can tell me, okay, now imagine that you're the person responsible for listening and knowing what was said. I know what you're thinking. I need to find my replacement. Don't worry, one step ahead of you. But in the meantime, I was like, I can't do this. This just doesn't work. We need a solution. And at that time, I figured out what Boondock Echo needed to be. But I lacked the skill set to implement it, right? I'm just the pretty face on this team. No, forget about him looking better than me. I'm just the pretty face. Casey's my skill set. So at a Hackaday Hack Chat, hosted by Dan Maloney, when they were talking to...
457, what's the structure defense? Operations for combo structure defense. Alpha, on command.
That's how good I am with technology, Mark.
You're giving me PTSD right now, buddy. I'm just saying. That was mean. No, it's fine. I knew I needed to do something. And towards the end of a hat chat, I came on late, and I'm like, hey, anybody looking for a project? And Casey was. So, how do you find team members that you can work with? Well, everybody's got their own special sauce. You know, do you like the person? Do they have lots of money? Will they give you their credit card number? Casey won't, but that's okay. He executes like a mofo. He gets projects that he does these for his previous employer, and he knocks them out of the park. That's what I always look for, is somebody who can start something and finish something. I don't need really, really great ideas executed poorly. I need okay-ish ideas executed perfectly. And that's what KC can do. And that's why I added KC to the team. And at the time, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I did ask some questions to try to figure it out, but I had no idea how fortunate I was about to be. So, Casey, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No.
Let's keep going.
All right, next slide. All right, so together we won 4th place. Again, a little salty about that. We had an awesome project, and it was great. It gave us some seed money. We got $10,000 to start this project, and boy, did we blow through it. But before we did, we made some significant progress. Casey, go ahead and hit me with the next slide, and then something happened, and that was I got approached by a startup company that needed a engineering director. All right, this isn't good. I just started this thing with Casey, and now I can either work for free with him, or I can get sacks of cash from the startup company. Which one do? I can't do both. The engineering director position is managing 19 engineers across 12 time zones. There's no way. I can't do it. And you guys all know Ron Swanson, never half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing. So what I chose to do was take a step back, give up a portion of the company that we would eventually create, and bring back in Jesse. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm really glad I did, because he is excellent. He does just a little bit of everything. He designs circuit boards for a living, super nice guy, super smart. He's into all sorts of games, if any of you guys like that type of thing. I've never seen anybody get more excited about that than him. And at that point, for how many months was I gone, Casey?
Like 6 months at least.
Yeah, something like that. I would meet with them once a week during the planning meetings, and I would just step aside.
All right, so thank you, Mark. So the big challenge started after that. We had to build a board, make the firmware, make the website. Being from the IT field, I wanted to do all that, and it was very exciting. So we started with our first revision of the board. This was our first product, fully designed. Jesse built it. It had the microprocessor and all the required components to make Boondock work. So just a quick story. What Boondock, it records your radio and sends it to the cloud, and you can play it on the radio or on the cloud. But things are not easy. We had a problem with sourcing the components. We found that there were different versions of the same chip. We built first prototype. We ordered 50 PCBs. We assembled it. We put 4 or 5 of together. It wouldn't work. Why? Because they were both having different audio codec, and all the code that was written was for a different codec. Another problem was that it was very difficult to figure out which chip you will get. You make an order, you place an order, and you get something else. So that was our first biggest problem, so we had to scrap that. So what do we do? So we started with an audio kit by AI Thinker. We tried to contact them. They were like, oh, we don't manufacture that anymore. So we are like, okay, where do we get it? And then we started sourcing the audio kits. Once again, we found a few different versions, but we settled with the one which was working, and this is the one which we ended up using. Then we built a sidekick board. Essentially, it interfaces with the audio kit, but it has all the analog components to convert the radio level to audio kit level. So what we can do is get the audio from the radio, and then we can also trigger a push to talk, so we can transmit from the radio as well. So this sidekick helped us not only receive audio, but it also helps us transmit the audio.
So what do? You've got a working prototype now. We've got Casey working really hard on software. Where do we go from here? Well, for that, the next thing that you guys need to do, if you are to follow our path, and probably something we should have done a little sooner, is have a plan and a budget. And your plan's going to change, your budget's going to change, but you need to know how much time it's going to take to do these things. You need to know how much money it's going to take to do these things. You at least need a ballpark. They cut my mic. That's just rude. All right. You need a plan for all of these things. So without the rest of the spreadsheet that I made, it's kind of hard to tell. But you see where it gets really red over here on this picture? That means I've got more tasks than I have people to perform them. And when that happens, you are either going to take much longer than you want, or you're going to need to hire people. When you do a budget and you have more money going out than you have coming in, you're either going to go bankrupt or you need to go find money. If you're going to figure out how long and how far into the valley of death that you're going to go, the valley of death, by the way, is the spot where you're spending money, you don't have any money coming in, so it's just going out. You need to plan all of that out. You can't just let it happen and wait and hope that things are going to turn around, or guess that you're going to be making money in 2025. You need a basic idea. So if you know server costs, if you know employee costs, personnel costs, and all of that, you can go back and you can kind of figure out again how much money you need coming in. Make sense? Reasonably so. And if you guys need to borrow, I've got a blank template of all of that if you ever want to email me. But we knew that we needed investors. Do you want to tell them the acronyms, or would you like me to? The initialisms?
Sure. So this is where I'll tell a little story about Mark. We complement each other for the fact that I think about, hey, Mark, we can use artificial intelligence. We can do this. We can do transcription. We can do all these large language model and chat GPT stuff. But Mark would be like, no, let's build a proof of concept, something which is basic, but it works. And it takes money to make money. To build all that, we needed money. And how do we do that? We did invest all the money we got from Hackaday, right, Mark? And we needed more money. So let's get someone else's money. And we found someone who was ready to give money. I don't know why he looks similar to me, but his name is Shailesh. He helped us with building a team offshore. It was very economic to us. We wouldn't burn out all the money. And he helped us setting up the office and hire the programmers so that they can build the product, but we do not burn out all the cash that we didn't even have. So you have to find someone who believes in you and puts their money to get the product rolling and get the proof of concept out.
One thing I'll add to that, one lesson that we learned, again, back from me spending time at the other startup, was you don't go out asking for $10,000 from family and friends. You go out and you ask for a heck of a lot more than that from professional investors. It's a lot easier to come up with $100,000 than it is to come up with $10,000, because the venture capitalists don't play in the $10,000 price range. Amazingly enough, it's easier to get more money than it is less money. But that more money comes with strings attached, and those strings are shares of your company. Oh, articles of incorporation.
Oh, yeah.
I get to take this back. Sorry about the two mic thing. I'll speak to Bradley. Bradley, you're awesome. It's the microphone's fault.
Here you go, buddy.
Casey, on your right. Thanks, guys. All right. So we had to incorporate. This is something we'd put off for far too long, but we needed everybody on the same page. We needed to actually sign some documents and become an LLC, become a company. And the issue with that, as I'm sure you can imagine, is that everybody wants a lot, and they want to give up very little. It's just human nature. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Investors are going to want the biggest bang for their buck that they want. The people who invented the company and founded it are going to want as much as they can get. Jesse is going to want part of it too. So the question is, can you get everybody on the same page? And the best time to do that is at the very, very, very beginning. We waited a little longer than we should, but we were still able to do it. And it was very simple. You just have conversations with everybody about what it is that you want and what you're willing to do. And what's in it for me? You know, what's my percentage of the company for the amount of work that I'm going to do, for the amount of money that I'm going to donate, or not donate, but invest. Too bad we didn't get him to donate it. Okay, that's another rule we should have put up there, but yeah, he wouldn't have. And then also make me feel important. Everybody plays a role. Casey mentioned it earlier, you know, said we complement each other, and we do. But every person on the team we desperately need. I can't do what Casey does. I can't do what Jesse, well, can I do what Jesse does? Probably not in the time that he can do it. He can do it just, you know, super fast. I might be able to squeak it through. Maybe Jesse and I can turn out some of the code that Casey produces. Maybe, but certainly not in the amount of time, the very little short amount of time that it takes him to do it. Maybe Casey can do the things I can do, but maybe not in that time. We all play a part, and we are all desperately important to the end goal. So when we went through this process, we had some issues, and I went and talked to everybody, and I found out what it is that they needed to make this agreement go. And I talked to everybody too, and when I talked to them, I made sure that they knew just how critical that they are, and they are critical. I'm not making that up, right? I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's skirt to make them feel good about themselves. It's true. It is absolutely true, and I think internally they all know that. And then after we had those conversations, we all hopped on some calls, and we knocked it out in a weekend? Mm-hmm. Something like that?
Yep.
Oh, it's both of us. It's a tag team.
Yeah, so to the previous point, one thing I'd like to add, Mark, is when we just started as a group, three-member team, we did discuss about how we are going to operate, how we will make decisions, and how we will make the things happen over time. One of the things was it will be unanimous, and we will always appreciate each other's value or contribution to the project. So there was time that, like, someone will come to you like, oh, you know what, this guy is just screwing you up, and you should try to do it alone. But no, you should not do it alone. You have to do it with the team that you started with, because everyone brings in the value to the project.
So something else that we discovered that we kind of knew, but not to the extent, and that is everything takes longer than you expect. A lot longer than you expect. Oh, I can finish this in 1 day. It'll take a week. Oh, I can finish that by next month. It'll be 6. Everything takes longer. Even if you do careful planning, there are just things you can't account for. For example, setting up our bank account. We went from something that would have taken an hour to somebody bubbled in a wrong bubble, and now there's 60 pages of information for identity verification. So, you went from something that'll take an hour to something now that's going to take a couple of weeks by the time everything's done and notarized. Everything takes longer.
Right. Well said. Setting up websites, setting up servers. You set up a server, the network is not working, the IP address, the SSL is not working. Oh, let me set it up. So you always have to choose between spend money or spend time. If you do not plan, you will be spending a lot of money because you will be wasting money everywhere. But if you plan better, you can save out on some of the money. This is something we learned over time. Right. I'll quickly introduce the rest of my team. These are my 2 programmers. Now, they're very young, but they are very enthusiastic. One thing I'd like to add is when we had them as our team members, we made them believe in the product or believe in the solution, believe in the cause that we are doing. You cannot just hire people, tell them that, oh, you have to write code. No. We made them believe what we are doing is something very meaningful to us, and they also had the same feeling while working on the project.
And they're critical to our success, absolutely critical. For Americans, right? Anybody in here a programmer? Can you give me a ballpark what your hourly rate is? Okay, so it's about roughly a 3-to-1 savings working offshore. We would not be able to afford you. I don't care how good you are or aren't, or how many years of experience you have or don't have. That is out of our budget. It just is at this point in the field. But we can pay pretty well offshore prices, and we can have them help hopefully change the course of the company, certainly change the course of our lives, and we can do that in a somewhat more affordable fashion. We had to build up all of this team. We had to make all of these pieces fit together to get us to where we are. Which, after all of that intro, brings us the Boondock Echo. This is the product. It can do a little bit of everything. Casey, what features have you incorporated for the audience today? And by the way, they're pretty dead. This is a very quiet audience. Should we get them to be excited first?
All right.
I know. Boondock Echo!
All right.
No, Casey, hold on. Boondock Echo! A smattering of applause, my friend.
Thank you. I want to tell a quick one. My picture here is no photographer ever took this picture. This was created by AI. I just put bunch of my photos and it created a headshot. Why I wanted to add that is what we wanted to add or bring to the radio technology. So Boondock Echo will record everything and send it to the cloud, and all the magic happens on the cloud. We can transcribe all the text. As of now, the system is capable of transcribing more than 40 languages. So you can not only transcribe, but it can also translate from one language to another. We also use artificial intelligence to remove the noise from the audio. And you'll be surprised, sometimes the audio is so bad you cannot understand what it is, but the AI-based model is able to understand what it said, and which we will also see in some of the examples. We can do keyword recognition, like my call sign is KD9VFU, so if somebody says, hey, this is so-and-so calling KD9VFU, I can get notified by just putting those keywords, where now you can track fire or robbery or anything else you want, you can track with keywords recognition. You can integrate with if this then that. That means you can integrate with anything else. Or if the system triggers a keyword, maybe turn on my lights, or you can do any kind of integration. Decoding Morse code or relaying DTMF tones, all those things are possible because we can process that through the cloud and play it through the Boondock Echo.
So remember that recording that I showed you earlier of all of those stations that were talking over each other and I had no idea what was going on? So we can take a radio, and we can take a cheap radio like a Baofeng UV5R, and we can plug that radio in. Every station gets its own boondock. We can sit there, grab everything, no overlap, cue it for the listener. Actually, we don't even have to make them listen to the audio. We can just show them the text transcription, and they can figure out what's important and what isn't. And then if they want to, they can go back and listen to it, and even play it right on the dock. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's show them a little bit more of what this thing can do, Casey. This is exciting stuff. You can tell how the crowd is so excited that it's exciting.
Boondock Echo.
All right.
Right. This is a screenshot of what it can do. In this case, I love NOAA Weather Radio because it gives me continuous audio I can test with. So in this example, I have a keyword thunderstorm. Now, as you can see, it's a continuous stream of audio. Boondock Echo is capable of capturing all the audio of NOAA Weather Radio continuously without missing a beat. And then it has triggered that there was thunderstorm. And then you have the transcription, as you can also play the audio. You know when that message was relayed. Now it could be applied to any other radio. So this is something we learned over time, that people who work with ham radio, they like to control the devices. They don't want everything on cloud. So we built a UART-based console, so you can connect to your computer. You can work with this in a completely offline environment. Right now, we have a ham radio user who took Boondock Echo on a trip, and he's recording all the audio. And when he comes back, he will connect to the internet, and everything goes to the cloud. So you can run all the commands to control the Boondock Echo without any internet connection. And this is how your inbox looks like. You can see that you have all your messages. They are automatically transcribed. You can see how many Boondock Echoes are online. And you can use these buttons to play on the Boondock or even transmit. If you connect Baofeng and you enable transmit, you can transmit the messages through the Baofeng, and you can also play. This is another example of, in this case, I was listening to the Illinois Police Department, and I had a scanner listening to the calls. And here we have some triggers, which were like shots, gunshots. Maybe that's what I'm just interested to see what's going on around my neighborhood. So we have the triggers, which you will get those emails. You can say that, okay, whenever this is triggered, send me an email. So Boondock will also send you an email with the audio and the text message.
So to give you an idea of some potential use cases for this, and then we still have a live demo to do for you as well. If you're an amateur radio operator, you can have this monitor nets you don't have to be around for. Or if you've got a buddy who's trying to contact you, if you're not in your ham shack, if you're not next to that radio, as you saw in that commercial we showed you at the beginning, that message just ceases to exist. Well, we can capture all that now for you. And we can email you, which is pretty exciting stuff. If you guys are worried if your neighborhood's safe, wouldn't it be nice to know what the police are doing around you? We can get you a live blotter, no problem. If you're an off-grid person and you want to know when things are going to happen, you know, what's the expression? No, I can't think of the polite way to put it. SHF, I think that's the one. SHTF, there we go, thank you, sir. Back when COVID was happening, the EMTs in your area were receiving more calls than normal for people in respiratory distress. Do you know that? Yeah, a lot more. Before it even hit the news, there were a lot more calls. Before it was even a pandemic, because it was already here. Well, you can know that too. It's all about having that information available to you. So if you're somebody who's into community, if you're somebody who's into amateur, if you're somebody who's into prepping, we've got a little bit of something for everyone. And that is the Boondock Echo. Now, here's what we need from you. We need your help to make this a success. We need you to buy this. How much, you ask? Well, we don't know ourselves. We actually would be quite fine giving these away, because what we really want is to have you become a partner with us on a monthly basis, and we become a software as a service company. So we can integrate, fuse all this data together and come up with some really cool stuff. So if that's something that might potentially interest you, please sign up at Crowd Supply, who's going to help us launch our first campaign, and the pre-launch page is live as of yesterday, so you can sign up for that right now. Or you can go over, you can go over to boondockecho.com and leave your contact information there. One way or the other, we want to be in touch with you so that when the time comes that you can purchase these, that you know how to purchase these. Does that sound like something you guys want to do? Yay, there's a little bit of excitement, a smattering of applause, but hold on. You don't even know if it works yet. You guys want to see us embarrass ourselves in a live demo? Okay, let's try it. I'm going to need a volunteer from the audience with an amateur radio license. I know, I'm sorry, I saw that hand go down. Yes, you in the bow tie, sir. The only hand. There's more than one amateur radio operator in here. All right, come on up, Mr. Sean Heimel. Thank you for joining us. So the reason Casey and I aren't doing this demo is because we want you to know that this actually works, if it does indeed work. We're going to ask Sean to send a transmission, and when Sean sends that transmission, we're going to watch it on this stage, this off camera. So all you have to do, sir, is just hit the PTT on the side, right, that one right there, transmit a message of your choosing, and then just clear the frequency.
All right. This is KJ4BRJ calling in from SuperCon. This is a live demo of the Boondock Echo, and frequency is clear.
Perfect. So what we're doing is sending that from the radio to another radio we have down here on stage that's connected to a Boondock Echo. Boondock Echo is connected to the internet in a power pack. All it is right here is just this, a radio, and a USB power. And
Did I do it wrong?
no, you did everything right. It should be doing something right by now. This is live demos for you, peeps. It's never the easy way. Casey, what's wrong? Are we receiving? KE6WOB. We'll try a slightly shorter message. It's receiving. It received. Oh. This is what happens with live demos. This is why you should always cheat during live demos.
Well, I'll blame it on Wi-Fi.
Should we, well, do you think that will do it? Do you think we should restart in case we lost Wi-Fi silently? Okay. While we try this demo one more time, I have demonstrated this successfully in front of Elliot and a few others. Just so you know, we're gonna hang out though. We're gonna restart. We're gonna see if we can do it. But do you have any questions while we wait? Yes, sir. You, sir. OpenAI's Whisper. It is, at this point, it can't be. So we developed this during the silicon shortage, and we couldn't get a hold of any reasonable quantity of anything reasonably fast. So this is based on the ESP32A1S module. The next versions will be probably Pi-based, is what we're looking at this way, and we want to move that stuff on device in case you do lose internet. But right now, the translation is in the cloud. Yes, sir? Yeah, so the gentleman that has it out in the desert right now, was it Death Valley he took it? So yeah, he will have to upload after the fact. He can still record and play back the audio. All of that happens on device, but the transcription feature is only in the cloud for now. But we hope to not keep it that way. All right, is it rebooted? Let's do a quick test. Or are we still rebooting? We're booting the badge. Just so you know, we hacked our badges and we took off the Raspberry Pi Pico and we put on a Raspberry Pi Pico W. And we're reconnecting that to the Wi-Fi, the conference Wi-Fi, and then we're going to try this demo again. All right, other questions while we continue to wait? What's that?
Can you see it from there? Can you see that that worked?
All you can see is a little light up.
Oh, okay, fair.
Maybe. How are we looking, Casey? If not, we'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, it's connecting to Wi-Fi. Last try. If it doesn't, then we'll do it tomorrow again.
Okay, if we can't get on the Wi-Fi here, we'll just do it tomorrow because it'll take a few minutes to move it over, but I appreciate that. Okay. Any other questions?
Mark, let's do another try.
KE6WOB echo test. All right, I just sent a KE6WOB echo test, rather rapid. We're just going to see if anything shows up. Oh, it missed it. Okay, now we need proof. Sean Heimel, give us a message, buddy.
KJ4BRJ doing another test. Clearing frequency.
Let's find out. Let's find out. Come on, fingers crossed. What's that? Woo! There's the applause we were waiting for. Now we are worthy of your money. Feel free to go back to that QR code page slide. Take a picture. I'll get out of the way. Casey will get out of the way, and then we'll do some thank yous, and we'll be out of here in time for awards. And you guys have enough time for a potty break. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope you learned a little something. We hope you enjoyed the story. We hope you liked the live demo. And I don't know, we hope you give us money. Yeah?
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We'll see you in the award ceremony in 5.